Away by the lands of the Japanese, where the paper lanterns glow, and the crews of all the shipping drink in the house of Blood Street Joe. At twilight, when the landward breeze brings up the harbour noise, and Deb of Yokohama Bay swigs chattering through the boys. In Cisco's dewdrop dining rooms, they tell the tale anew of a hidden sea and a hidden fight when the Baltic ran from the Northern Light and the Stralsund fought the two. Now this is the law of the Muscovite, that he proves with shot and steel. When you come by his isles in the smoky sea, you must not take the seal. Where the grey sea goes nakedly between the weed-hung shelves, and the little blue fox he is bred for his skin, and the seal they breed for themselves. For when the Matka seeks the shore to drop his pups a land, the great men seal haul out of the sea, a roaring band by band. And when the first September gales have slaked their rotting wrath, the great men seal haul back to the sea, and no man knows their path. Then dark they lie, and stark they lie, rookery, June and flow, and the northern lights come down the nights to dance with the houseless snow. And God, who clears the grounding berg and steers the grinding flow, oh, he hears the cry of the little kit fox and the wind along the snow. But since our women must walk gay and money buys their gear, the sealing boats they filch that way at hazard, year by year. English they be, and Japanese that hang on the brown bear's flank, and some be Scot, but the worst of the lot, and the boldest thieves, be Yank. It was a sealer, Northern Light, to the smoky sea she bore, with a stovepipe stuck from a starboard port, and the Russian flag at her fore. Baltic, Stralsund, and Northern Light, oh, they were birds of a feather. Slipping away to the smoky seas, three seal thieves together. And at last she came to a sandy cove, and the Baltic lay therein. But the men were up with a herding seal to drive and club and skin. There were 1,500 skins a beach, cool pelt and proper fur, when the Northern Light drove into the bight, and the sea mist drove with her. When the Baltic called her men and weighed, she could not choose but run. For a stovepipe seen through the closing mist, well, it shows like a 4-inch gun. And loss it is that is sad as death, to lose both trip and ship, and glide for rotting contraband on Vladivostok's slip. She turned and dived in the sea's smother, as a rabbit dives in the winds, and the Northern Light sent up her boats to steal the stolen skins. They had not brought a load to side, or slid their hatches clear, when they were aware of a sloop of war, ghost white and very near. Her flag she showed, and her guns she showed, 3 of them, black abeam, and a funnel white with a crusted salt, but never a show of steam. There was no time to man the brakes. They knocked the shackle free, and the Northern Light stood out again, goose-winged to open sea. For life it is that is worse than death by force of Russian law, to work in the mines of mercury that loose the teeth in your jaw. They had not run a mile from shore. They heard no shots behind, when the skipper smote his hand on his thigh and threw her up in the wind. "Bluffed, raised out on a bluff," said he, "for if my name's Tom Hall, you must set a thief to catch a thief, and a thief has caught us all. For every butt in Oregon and every spar in Maine, the hand that spilled the wind from her sail was the hand of Reuben Payne. He has rigged and trigged her with paint and spar, and faith, he has faked her well. But I'd know the Stralsund's dick house yet from here to the booms of hell. Once we have met at Baltimore, and twice on Boston Pier. But the sickest day for you, Reuben Payne, was the day that you came here. The day that you came here, my lad, to scare us from our seal. With your funnel made of your painted cloth, and your guns a rotten deal. Ring and blow for the Baltic now, and head her back to the bay, and we'll come into the game again, with a double deck to play. They rang and blew the sealer's call, the poaching cry of the sea, and they raised the Baltic out of the mist, and an angry ship was she. And blind they groped through the whirling white, and blind to the bay again, till they heard the creak of the Stralsund's boom and the clank of a mooring chain. They laid them down by bitten boat, their pistols in their belts. And will you fight for it, Reuben Payne, or will you share the pelts? A dog-tooth laughed Reuben Payne, and bared his flinching knife. Yea, skin for skin, and all that he hath a man will give for his life. But I've 6,000 skins below and yet put to sea, and there's never a lord of God or man runs north of 53. So go in peace to the naked seas with empty holds to fill, and I'll be good to your seal this catch, as many as I shall kill. Answered the snap of a closing lock, and the jar of a gun butt slid. But the tender fog shut fold on fold to hide the wrong they did. The weeping fog rolled fold on fold, the wrath of man to cloak, and the flame spurts pale ran down the rail as the sealing rifles spoke. Bullet bit on bend and butt, the splinter slivered three. Little they trust to sparrow dust that stops the seal in his sea. The thick smoke hung and would not shift, leaden it lay and blew. But 3 were down on the Baltic's desk, and 2 of the Stralsund's crew. At arm's length out and overside, the banked fog held them bound. But as they heard, or groan, or word, they fired at the sound. For one cried out, in the name of God, and one to have him cease. And the questing volley found them both, and bade them hold their peace. And one called out on a heathen joss, and one on the Virgin's name. And the scalding bullet leaped across, and showed them whence they came. And in the waiting silences the rudder whined beneath, and each man drew his watchful breath, slow taken 'tween the teeth. Trigger and ear and eye a cock, knit brow and hard-drawn lips, bracing his feet by chock and cleat for the rolling of the ships, till they heard the cough of a wounded man that fought in the fog for breath, until they heard the torment of Reuben Payne that wailed upon his death. The tides they'll go through Fundy race, but I'll go nevermore. See the hogs from ebb tide mark turn scampering back to shore. No more I'll see the trawlers drift below the base rock ground, or watch the tall full steamer lights tear blazing up the sound. Sorrow is me in a lonely sea, at a sinful fight I fall. But if there's Lord of God or man, you'll swing for it yet, Tom Hall. Tom Hall stood up by the quarter rail. Your words in your teeth, said he. He's never a law of God or man runs north of 53. So go in grace with him to face an ill-spent life behind. And I'll be good to your widows, Rube, as many as I shall find. A Stralsund man shot blind and large, and a warlock Finn was he, and he hit Tom Hall with a bursting ball a hand's breadth over the knee. Tom Hall caught hold by the topping lift, and sat him down with an oath. You'll wait a little, Rube, he said. The devil has called for both. The devil is driving both this tide, and the killing grounds are close. And we'll go up to the wrath of God as a hollow chickie goes. Oh men, put back your guns again and lay your rifles by. We fought our fight and the best are down. Lit up and let us die. Quick firing by the bow there, quick call off the Baltic's crew. You're sure of hell as me or Rube, but wait till we get through. There went no word between the ships, but thick and quick and loud the lifeblood drummed on the dripping decks with a fog dew from the shroud. The sea pulled through them side by side, gunwale to gunwale laid, and they felt the sheer strakes pound and clear, but never a word was said. Then Reuben Payne cried out again before his spirit passed, "Have I followed the sea for 30 years, to die in the dark at last? Curse on her work that has nipped me here with a shifty trick unkind. I have got my death where I got my bread, but I dare not face it blind. Curse on the fog, is there never a wind of all the winds I knew, to clear the smother from off my chest, and let me look at the blue?" The good fog heard, like a splitting sail, to left and right she tore, and they saw the sundogs in the haze, and the seal upon the shore. Silver and grey ran spit and bay to meet the steel-backed tide, and pinched and white in the clearing light the crew stared overside. Oh, rainbow gay the red pools lay that swilled and spilled and spread, and gold raw gold the spent shell rolled between the careless dead. The dead that rock so drunken wise to weather and to lee, and they saw the work their hands had done as God had bade them see. And a little breeze blew over the rail that made the headsails lift, but no man stood by wheel or sheet, and they let the schooners drift. And the rattle rose in Reuben's throat, and he cast his soul with a cry, and "Gone already, Tom all," he said, "but then it's time for me to die." His eyes were heavy with great sleep and yearning for the land, and he spoke as a man that talks in dreams, his wound beneath his hand. "Oh, there comes no good to the westering wind that backs against the sun. Wash down the decks, they're all too red, and share the skins and run. Baltic, Stralsund and Northern Light, clean share and share for all. You'll find the fleets off Tolstoy Mees, but you will not find Tom all. Evil he did in shoal water, and blacker sin on the deep. But now he's sick of watch and trick, and now he'll turn and sleep. He'll have no more of the crawling sea that made him suffer so, but he'll lie down on the killing grounds where the hollies chickie go. And west your sail and south again beyond the sea fog's rim, and tell the washy warrior girls to burn a stick for him. And you'll not weigh him by the heels and dump him overside, but carry him up to the sand hollows to die as Bering died, and make a place for Reuben Payne that knows the fight was fair, and leave the two that did the wrong to talk it over there. I'll steam ahead, my guess and lead, for the sun is mostly veiled. Through fog to fog, by luck and log, sail ye as Bering sailed. And if the light shall lift aright, to give ye a landfall plain, north and by west, from Zapney crest, ye raise the crosses twain. Fair marks are they to the inner bay, the reckless poacher knows what time the scarred sea catchy lead their sleek sorrelly glows. Ever they hear the flow-packed cur and the blast of the old bull whale, and the deep seal roar that beats offshore above the loudest gale. Ever they wait, the winter's hate, as the thundering booger calls. And northward look they to St. George, and westward to St. Paul's. Ever they greet the hunted fleet, lone keels off headlands drear, when the sealing schooners split that way, as hudders year by year. Ever in Yokohama port men tell that tale anew, of a hidden sea and a hidden fight, when the Baltic ran from the northern light, and the Stralsund fought the two.